The mother left the 1-year-old child alone with a large dog for a few seconds. When she looked out the window, she couldn't move from what she had taken away. The owner was sure that the dog had a kind character and did not pose a danger to their family. But before her eyes, something happened that she did not expect in any way. It all started when Catherine and her husband decided to get a dog for their little child. They believed that this would help their daughter Charlotte develop a sense of responsibility and care and give her a loyal friend and protector. They wanted to buy a puppy from a breeder in order to get a dog with the right qualities, but at the same time they were inclined to give a roof and a family for a dog from a shelter. Fate led them to the rescued dog, which was originally purchased from a breeder, was trained and calmly accepted people. The only problem was that this breed, Doberman, had a reputation for being somewhat aggressive and unpredictable dogs. This breed was originally bred as personal guards, and they were genetically determined to be excellent defenders for their own and show aggression towards others. Therefore, it is not surprising that many Dobermans are used as guard or service dogs. Their reputation reflects these characteristics. Although modern breeders try to raise them kinder and friendlier as companions, there was something special about the dog that Catherine saw. Apparently, this was due to the difficult past of the Doberman. This Doberman was rescued from the Kerry Kinderwederten orphanage in Australia. The breeder first sold it to one customer, but then discovered that the dog had been mistreated, and decided to save him by contacting the police. The pet's condition was terrible. He was emaciated with broken ribs, which was recorded by veterinarians. Then they even considered the possibility of putting him to sleep. However, a strong desire to live and faith in people allowed the unfortunate animal to get out and survive, and now Catherine, knowing the whole situation, decided to take this particular dog. However, Catherine's husband was more careful. However, his fears were quickly dispelled when he had a closer conversation with the pet and learned about the dog's plight. Caring Catherine couldn't help but fall in love with such a Doberman immediately after meeting. He had a personality that made her feel comfortable. So, despite all the initial doubts of her husband and friends, she took a Doberman and named him Con, and then she was looking forward to introducing a new family member to her 17-month-old daughter. But that didn't mean she was reckless. Entrusting her child to a big dog, the hostess decided to take all precautions in the early days when Con finally found himself at home. Neither she nor her husband took their eyes off him. The dog was very grateful to the new family, while remaining calm, without disturbing people in any way. He accepted a human child with great love, and treated the baby very carefully and attentively. Charlotte, on the other hand, was extremely delighted with her new furry friend, and tried to spend time with him. His parents liked Con's behavior. He was always calm and affectionate. Catherine thought she had made the right decision, although she remained alert when the dog and child were playing together. It's been a few weeks. One day, Catherine left Con playing with her daughter in the yard for just a few seconds alone while she washed the dishes in the kitchen. As if feeling something was wrong, she looked out the window and saw a scene she would never forget. But before she could do anything, everything happened and it was too late. Con gently nudged Charlotte with his muzzle, which Catherine had never seen in his behavior before. He pushed the child closer to the yard, as if trying to make her react and obey. Charlotte continued to move steadily towards the grass and bushes. The next moment, Con screamed, abruptly grabbed the baby by the diaper with his teeth. Catherine saw it through the window and screamed. Time seemed to have stopped for her, watching in horror what was happening. She could not move. The woman has repeatedly heard about dogs attacking children, and maybe that's what happened to Con, given his traumatic past. She couldn't help feeling guilty that it was her fault. She shouldn't have let such dangerous dogs near her child. In the next split second, Con did something that almost made his mother's heart stop. The 45-kilogram dog easily grabbed Charlotte by the diaper and threw her about 3 meters into the yard, as if she were a rag doll and not a person. Catherine couldn't believe her eyes and was in shock, not knowing what to do. She had only one thought: she had to run to save her child. Catherine rushed into the yard to her daughter and quickly picked her up. She quickly looked at her to make sure that the girl was safe. Surprisingly, the child had only a few minor scratches and nothing else. Turning to Han, she half expected him to attack her as well, but instead the dog did something strange. Khan tried to get up, he was panting, and saliva was foaming from his mouth. He raised his front paw as if it was damaged, then lay down. His breathing became heavier and he lost consciousness. Khan's condition was deteriorating right in front of Catherine's eyes. Something must have happened here. Catherine couldn't understand what had happened. She was panicking and felt helpless in front of the situation. Then she saw a barely moving taipan, one of the most venomous snakes in Australia, on the grass near the place where the girl was playing. The bite of this snake can be fatal even for an adult. It was only now that Catherine realized what had really happened. Khan tried to drive the girl away from danger, and when the snake was dangerously close, he threw Charlotte away and took the blow on himself. In fact, he sacrificed his life for the sake of the child. Then, with the last of his strength, Khan bit the snake and tried to approach the hostess, but the poison had already begun to act and he fell unconscious. Catherine knew that there were only a few minutes left. And she couldn't leave him to die like that after what he had done for the family. Khan urgently needed to get to the vet and get an antidote, otherwise he would have no chance of surviving. But there was one problem: Catherine was at home alone with a small child and a 45-kilogram dog. But the woman simply could not leave him to die. First, Catherine put the child in a child car seat, then, gathering all her strength, she picked up the injured dog and somehow put it in the trunk of the car. "Now, if you asked me to carry a dog like that, I definitely wouldn't be able to," she said later in an interview. The adrenaline pumping made her capable of such actions. Because of this, she could practically lift her weight off the ground and carry it to the car. Then the woman rushed to the vet with the injured dog in the trunk, barely following the rules of the road. "I didn't even stop at a red light," she admitted later in an interview. Catherine went to the vet, who immediately took Khan in and gave him an injection of the antidote. Although Catherine was keen to find out how her dog was doing, the vet said they would have to wait until the next morning to see if the antidote worked. The woman reluctantly drove home, not knowing what would happen next. The bite of a taipan is usually fatal, but perhaps Khan did not receive a full dose of poison and was able to survive the night due to his size and weight. In addition, Khan was once on the verge of death, but his strong character helped him recover. The expert believed that the dog had very few chances, so he immediately said this: he did not want to give Catherine and her husband high hopes for saving the pet so that they would be ready for a tragic ending. The main thing, according to the veterinarian, is that the child was not injured. Catherine couldn't sleep and prayed all night that Khan would survive. She did not close her eyes and was able to lie down only in the morning for an hour. She was woken up by a call from the vet. The young woman listened to the verdict of the specialist with bated breath, and tears flowed down her cheeks. Khan was in stable condition and could return home a little later in the evening. The family was over the moon with joy and happiness. After all, Khan is not just a dog, he is the most native member of the family, who from now on will receive all the best along with Charlotte. And there is no doubt about his kindness and loyalty.